Right up here, and we're heading this way, away from the woods. We're going to see how far we go before they turn back.
Well, you're referring to your recent outing that is on the internet. I build on what other people have done, and as far as areas to go into, and I've just gotten people have emailed me and sent me messages, and people that I've spoken with and worked with. But anyway, this is how you learn and grow. No one's in a vacuum. You're not going to learn much unless you are able to speak with other people. Mm-hmm. But that particular area, I had no clue that you were going to hit the mother lode like you guys did. I mean, I said on my blog, a treasure trove of footprints. I've never seen such a prolific find like that. And I put it up for the rest of the Bigfoot world to take a look at. By the way, this is, for the millions that are watching on television right now, this is a cast of one of the feet that they found out in the Green Swamp, which was one of about, how many would you think, 50, 60 prints leading in a file? I don't know.
I'd have to estimate well over 100 prints.
Over 100 prints. Mm-hmm. And stretching for several hundred feet, apparently.
Mm-hmm. We'll get an exact length of track the next time we go out.
This cast, and you can see it from the side, and it has clearly defined toes, and the leaves and sticks are still sticking out of it. And this is awesome. I've never had any casting material, so this is actually the first time I've actually held a print in my hand. So this is an historic occasion. This is great.
Well, Tim, how long have you been searching the swamp?
3 years.
3 years in the swamps looking.
3 years.
And it's amazing that you've, I think you've identified probably part of the range of a population. Now, when you go out and collect your evidence, how do you collect your evidence?
Well, I don't collect evidence. I photograph and videotape and record audio, and I don't pick something off the ground if you see a hairball and say, oh, this must be Bigfoot. How do I know what it is? It's some animal left hair. Or some people use the term scat,
right?
Which is poop, and you'll see them with a plastic bag and a baggie, and they're putting the poop into the baggie and they're going to take it. I don't do that.
Right.
I don't do that. I just use my cameras. I have no weapons with me. I'm not armed. I'm completely unarmed out there. Some people say that that's crazy, because it's not just Bigfoot that's out there. There's coyotes and bears and bobcats, and there's the Florida panther, and there's things that could hurt you, could kill you. There's hogs.
Yeah. The big hogs are probably the most, and bear. Right.
Occasionally I do bring my baseball bat when I'm going to do tree knocking. I guess that would be a weapon.
Yeah.
Bounce right off a hog's head, but
oh yeah.
But that's the extent of it.
Well, what in your view is your mission? I mean, what is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal, most people would probably say, who do this, I want to get a clear high definition video, or I want to get a good clear photograph. Of course, you guys being in the production business know that, well, I guess video could be fake too, but with Photoshop you can make anything look like the real thing. Video is a little harder to fool around with, but with software that clearly can be done.
Certainly.
But if it was convincing enough to where people would look at it and go, this cannot be faked, this could not be a suit. There is a famous film called the Patterson film, which is considered the holy grail in the Bigfoot world. It was shot in 1967. I mentioned it in the opening. 1967 by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. And there was a movie, a documentary done about several Bigfoot researchers. But during this documentary, they showed that film to a man named Stan Winston. And Stan Winston is Spielberg's chief
special effects
guy.
Yeah.
So they asked him, could you take a look at the Patterson film? He had never heard of it. And I think this was pretty interesting. He sat down at a TV monitor and they played the film. 3 seconds into it, he says, that's a guy in a suit.
Really? Right away?
Right away. That's a man in a suit. And this documentary was done by the BBC. And I don't remember whether Winston helped them try to recreate it, but they attempted to recreate it with their big budget and with a special effects suit and with cameras and whatever. They failed miserably. The guy in the suit looked awkward. He looked a good 300, 400 pounds lighter than the Patterson film guy. So I think even though Winston may be correct, the fact that even to this day no one can reproduce that film, duplicate it, means that there's a strong possibility that they may have filmed something that day. So I'm not a big believer in the Patterson film, but I'm leaning more towards it being real than it being fake. Because how do two guys that are basically broke California cowboys pull off such a high-tech type of a hoax that 40 years later, with computer software and digital enhancement, details are being brought out in the film that are amazing, like hair growing out of the face. The fact that the animal had mammary glands. These would be details that two hoaxers who were looking for a quick buck wouldn't fool with. Why would you? We're going to sell some stills to a magazine and make $900.
Yeah.
Screw it. Now the guy put the suit on and walk and we'll do it.
Right.
But anyway, I forgot what the question was.
Well, definitive proof. What?
But beyond that, as I stated earlier about, is this something that's going on in man's mind, or is this really something in the physical terrain? This is what I want to know. For centuries, the Native American Indians in the South have told stories about a large, hairy man that lives in the swamps and the pine forest. And with the continuous amount of sighting reports and with newly discovered evidence like your footprints that you found and the prints that I have found and what others have come across, it tells me that this may be more than just folklore. But a skeptic would say, well, hasn't science classified every animal on Earth? What are you talking about? Well, Michael Crichton, in his preface to Jurassic Park, said that it was only man in his arrogance that believed he could control and understand the forces of nature in its totality. That there are contingency factors that we're completely unaware of. Hence, he had the metaphor of the dinosaur experiment that went crazy because man was ignorant to what the potential of that could be. So the point I'm making is that we have only had the scientific tools necessary in the last century to even begin to understand the cosmic forces that have created this universe, created this earth that we live in. And it's not all that you can see. I like to say you have the seen and the unseen, the worldly and the otherworldly, the enigmatic and the anomalous, which science cannot explain. So, in philosophy, I said I majored in philosophy. There was a great philosopher, Immanuel Kant, who wrote a book on the critique of pure reason, where he believed that there was a limit to what reason could teach us as far as the things that we would need to know to be human, which would be the metaphysical, or the great questions such as, do we have eternal life? That's a metaphysical question. We could discuss that for 1,000 years and never get closer to an answer or a resolution. And so there are things that transcend experience, that science is the wrong avenue to pursue to acquire the answer. Even though I've got to admit, this little ghost gadget is pretty damn cool, and if it's using science to find ghosts, then I say, well, let's go with it. I would say that if we found a Bigfoot or a skunk ape, that it could validate our very existence, that it could create a new paradigm that would more accurately define just what it means to be human and what makes us so unique. And that's pretty much how I can answer that question. Is on the internet. I build on what other people have done, and as far as areas to go into, and that particular area, I had no clue that you were going to hit the mother load like you guys did. I mean, I said on my blog a treasure trove of footprints.
Right up here, and we're heading this way, away from the woods. We're going to see how far we go before they turn back.
Well, in front of your recent outing, that I've just gotten, people have emailed me and sent me messages, and people that I've spoken with and worked with. But anyway, this is how you learn and grow. If no one's in a vacuum, you're not going to learn much unless you are able to speak with other people. Mm-hmm.